Welcome to our show, Paula.
It is my pleasure being here tonight, Harry.
Your company is announcing the results of the 6th Productivity Research in Foreign Language Acquisition. I know the 2010 survey is the first of its kind in Brazil because it compares the effectiveness of online English language courses versus traditional face-to-face learning. The debate over the effectiveness of traditional courses versus e-learning is just beginning. Online courses have lower costs compared to conventional language education and offer flexibility and ease of access. But, are they really able to replace classroom learning? Is it a myth or fact that online courses require more motivation and greater discipline and self-organization from them? Do Brazilians have confidence in this kind of educational methodology?
In order to clarify these, and many other questions, and provide our stakeholders in the market a more insightful vision of the future, BIRD GEI began a pilot project to accompany 50 students in this type of educational program. As you know, we developed the first balanced scorecard in languages for the Brazilian market. Initially used as a model for performance evaluation in organizations, the balanced scorecard for languages enabled the development of strategic management methodologies in training and development. To assure the reliability of the results of this comparative pilot, we adopted the same language performance targets that are used in face-to-face programs for the online courses.
Can you give us an overview of the previous research?
Sure. In 2007, BIRD GEI followed 220 students sponsored by organizations from different industries. That year, 40% of students were excluded from their educational sponsorship for not achieving their minimum learning targets. In 2008, we were pleased to announce that the number of students who did not reach the minimum goal was reduced by half, from 40% to 20%. The factors that most contributed to this fact was a more proactive human resources, the hiring of consultants, and a more effective use of language management tools provided by these consultants, particularly the balanced scorecard for languages, and learning and performance goals.
And I have here the results of the 2009 research. Last year you assessed the performance of 162 students in the financial sector, and the number of students who lost their sponsorship for not reaching minimum evolution goals remained stable at around 22%. Why did you choose this segment?
We chose it on purpose, not only for being one of the most affected by the global crisis, but also for being one of the most competitive in Brazil. The students, on average, yielded a return on investment of $88 for every $100 invested by sponsors, a significant number.
So, the goal of your company is to provide the return on investment for corporate-sponsored language programs.
That is one of our goals. Our language strategic management tools allow organizations to make decisions and manage information more accurately, because they gain competitive advantage, add value, streamline investment, redefine and realign their goals in languages training.
What can you tell us about the 2010 research?
I think we better start with the conclusions. This first comparative analysis aimed at presenting the results and demonstrate which processes can lead to increased effectiveness of online and classroom courses. Please note that online courses are just beginning their activities in Brazil, while face-to-face courses, over many years, have adapted their educational programs and methodologies to the local market. Moreover, indicators from past research concerning face-to-face studies suggest that the active presence of human resources is critical in reducing the number of students who did not achieve their goals. This same pattern is observed in online courses. The number of hours of study, a standard report issued by online schools, shows that learning resources were underutilized by students. Considering all 4 language skills, students accessed only 47% of the recommended hours.
Does this happen in traditional language courses?
Yes. It is also essential to clarify that in traditional courses, the underutilization of funds made available to employees by their sponsors was also responsible for the 22% of students who did not meet their minimum goals. That is, these students either did not study or missed classes.
How about satisfaction surveys?
Many organizational decisions for a certain type of course is based only on satisfaction surveys. So, we also included the factor satisfaction in our analysis and found that, on average, students rated online courses with a score of 7.5 out of 10, which is the same pattern of satisfaction of traditional courses. That is, even with similar levels of satisfaction by itself, without performance indicators and the balanced scorecard for languages, can generate a distorted vision of the future.
What is your conclusion then?
That the same actions taken in classroom courses leading to a reduction in the number of students who have not met their targets also apply to online courses. a more proactive human resources, the hiring of language consultants, the upgrading of management tools provided by these consultants, in particular the performance indicators and targets for learning, are all essential elements for the effectiveness of any type of language course.
What about cultural factors?
I am glad you asked that. Most online students spontaneously, and therefore with no statistical value, said they were aware they were below the recommended hours of study, for several reasons, foremost among them the difficulty of managing their hours, prioritization of other activities related to their personal duties and lack of discipline. However, these are the main factors that also negatively influenced the results of students on attendance in all our previous researches. We also noticed that there were restrictions that may have affected the results. While face-to-face students could use the organization's facilities for classes, provided they were off working hours, this did not apply to students in online courses. Due to security information reasons, organizations still block user access to online courses.
I presume there are also questions related to the course's content. The think globally, act locally concept may be compromised since online courses are standardized throughout the world, wouldn't you say?
True, however, this issue also exists in traditional courses, and it is up to teachers and language schools to make the adjustments.
Some organizations claim to have chosen online courses for its ease, financial benefits, customer satisfaction surveys, or because their headquarters overseas sign up with online schools globally imposing a standardized methodology for all subsidiaries. Considering all this, wouldn't it be appropriate to ask ourselves if what works in other countries works in Brazil? And if the answer is no, how can you make your processes more efficient and consistent with your reality?
It was evident that the distribution of hours studied was concentrated in the receptive skills, listening and grammar, while they should have been distributed among both receptive and productive, reading and communication. In a globalized world in which English is no longer a second language, but rather a global communication instrument, being an agent producer and communicative and argumentative language in one's own, and in another language is essential. Therefore, whether online or face-to-face, language courses need to focus on these linguistic argumentative skills more effectively.
In conclusion, are you saying that, if students devote the number of hours recommended to their studies, the results of online courses are equivalent to traditional ones?
That's correct, but being this a first study, its results are still inconclusive, and further investigations are necessary.
Can you give us more details on the research?
Our client sponsor carefully selected 2 online schools, being 25 students to each. In online courses, it is the student who determines how much of his or her time will be devoted to each of the 4 skills: listening, reading, communication, grammar. In order to establish similar parameters between online and face-to-face courses, of which we already had rates of previous research, we developed an equivalent scale of minimum hours of study, based on analysis of the content of these courses. The result of this research clearly demonstrates that candidates who distributed their hours of study among the 4 skills obtained the best results, just as in the classroom courses, and that the hour equivalency of studies recommended at the start of the project is above the ideal. Instead of the 18 study hours per month of online studies, the equivalence would be 12 hours per month, being 8 hours distributed among grammar, vocabulary, listening comprehension and writing, and 4 hours of conversation.
What about their evolution?
In grammar and vocabulary, on average, there was an effective progress of 9.52%. Writing showed an increase of 13.97%, listening comprehension reached 10.29% and conversation 15.81%. The average progress in all skills was 12.09%.
How do these figures compare to traditional learning?
Even considering these variables, students reached a weighted average return on investment of $85.75 for each $100 invested, therefore, compatible with the results of traditional courses.
According to your research, is it 100% safe to say that online language courses are equivalent to traditional ones?
The research points to that, but as I said, it is still inconclusive. In 2010 we began monitoring a group of 200 students with online courses, including Spanish. The goal of the next survey is to consolidate the indicators of the pilot, approaching a more significant universe of students, and minimizing the impact of external factors.
Thank you for being here with us tonight, Paula. We are looking forward to the results of the next research.
Thank you, Harry.
Thank you all for watching.